What's good, everybody? Welcome to Story Near Nani. My name is Uncle Mush.
My name is Muteri.
My name is Nalotwesha.
Come on, that's what's up. Na kama kama kawa, swali yetu kila siku inakuanga kwani
Story Near Nani.
That's what's up. And today, man, leo tuko na an amazing guest. Sijui hata nianze introduction wapi. Media guru, music professional, music personality.
Unaniita mwizi. Kuna venye unajua kwa na title hii. Alafu ndio mkora. Zoa hivyo.
Aseli karibu sana bana.
Go on, mimi niko fiti.
Unaweza introduce just in case kuna mtu akujui. Uko na shida kama umjui.
Mimi sina shida kama unijui. Hata Yesu kama nakwambia, do you want me to be your Lord and Savior? Wani mtoto wa Mungu. Na mimi ni mtoto wa Jessica bana. My name is Brian ASELI, most bankable host in Africa. I love radio, television, theater. Basically, I consider myself creative. I'm just an artist. Hizi zingine ni ukora Nairobi kidogo. Ukisikia nafanya real estate, ujue tumefikiwa. Ukisikia real estate, Mungu anatupenda. Ukisikia sijui hizi motivational speaker, ujue vitabu nimesoma kidogo.
Mental health.
But I'm a mental health advocate for men specifically. Mabaisha luko ngomekapitia vibaya sana. Hata ukiangalia like in campus, the kind of shows I used to do were based on men. And I'm also doing an event coming very soon. It's courtesy of Nation Media, but of course it's a platform for men. And I like it when we just get into a space and just, hey bro, life inakupelekaje. I like it when people are honest, and I like it when men just gather somewhere in a corner and actually have a conversation about who they are, where they would like to go. Useme vulnerability, watakata kuongea.
See, only better than kusema being soft, ama?
Yes. So unaharibu.
Sorry, acha nitoke niwaachie hapa basi.
Inakuangalia bro, so come to bonge. So come to bonge.
Ukianza kuweka vulnerability,
Come to be vulnerable.
Because I think one thing, we've over sensationalized mental health. We've romanticized it. To an extent where people just say, unajua mimi nilikuwa na affectiwa na mental health. And then it now makes it harder for us to identify the people who are really going through it. And then people, kuna watu tu wako na tabia mbaya, they're not going through mental health. Utovu wa nidhamu. Exactly. Utovu wa nidhamu na mental health ni kitu different. Two different things, man.
But kuna watu wengi wanajifanya hiyo story ya mental health.
No, they just don't want to take responsibility, and when called to the table, they actually just say, "Oh, I was at a bad
diagnosis, if you ask me."
Exactly. And you know, in Nairobi, everyone nowadays, niko na ADHD.
Niko na ADHD.
Na kila mtu, instead of just saying, "Yo, I was the one to blame for this relationship,"
he was
toxic, narcissistic, manipulative.
Actually, a good percentage. It's just that wase wengi wanapenda ku blame the other party.
Of course.
And when you take responsibility, you grow. When you blame people, you are looking for misery, inapenda company. So utapata kuna wase wa kusengenya na amna wase wa kubuild.
Jamani.
When you take ngoja. Nataka urudie hiyo kitu tena. When you take responsibility, you grow.
Bro, hii imetokea sahi. No, but kweli, when you take responsibility, you grow. Because unaweza jicritique, unaweza jua mguu moja ni fupi, kama unajua. I get it.
Okay, yes.
You know your weaknesses, you accept, and then you can actually get help.
Nimesikia ukiongea kuhusu, umesema show za kampo, ulianza media guru na media personality.
Guru is a very extremely big term. Extremely big term.
But you've earned it, don't you think so?
I just feel like I'm a media expert. Sahi nimefika hiyo level yenye me clock at least 10 years in the business. I can say I'm a media expert. Guru is just on another, you know,
level.
And then it's just sensational. Inakupatia pressure, watu wakose kusaidia na dosa ile umekwama. That's what's happening. But so I got into the business in a very weird way. It was a passion that I had for a long time. My dad in particular saw the talent, and he was keen. Our dad has always been an ever-present dad.
Big
Chances were actually 90% that you could find my dad at home from school. So you're coming from school, unapata dad ako home. Ama unatoka shule umeingia tu hivi dad, a few minutes dad anakam. Unafanya homework na yeye anakuchanua, unajua? He would do our assignments with us till the end. So hakukuwa na siku yenye ati nimeingia shule ati nimekwama sikufanya assignments. Jumzee lazima aone mpaka the last one and then assign kwa diary aseme mtoto aliandika.
Na alikuwa anajua homework ni gani.
So hiyo kitu ilitufanya tukakuwa the young men and women, because we also grew up with one of our cousins who are just really focused. Ungehitaji kutu advice sana juu unaona tu wenyewe malipenye mnatoka. Mimi nilitoka Ongwaro, hiyo ni hood ingine tamu sana. Unalelewa na community. Ule si ati why would you talk to my son like that? Uko unaenda
unapigwa bahari.
Mama ushapiga bahari yako moja polite. Anakuuliza unajua kwa nini nimekupiga? Hata kama unasema mama mnaappreciate.
Nachapa makosa.
Makosa nayo inakonga imeniingia.
Kama ulitoka
ni makosa unachapa.
Kama ulitoka Ongwaro. Huyu ndio anaingia Ongwaro.
Ongwaro sasa ni different. Ongwaro sasa ni different. Sasa si one bedroom ni 18k.
Kwani kitambo kwa hawa
8,000 tunakosana, si wote tunatikia kuhama. We don't joke, man.
Ikifika 8,000 mnahama.
8,000 wewe utaki wenzako you don't try, right? You ndio utaki, sio? So that's one of the things that gave me the passion, because at least mzazi alikuwa ananiangalia. So I was not good at sports really. Nilikuwa na try back nini futa kidogo. But cause Sako grew up on Ongwaro ilikuwa ni either kama uko na sports talent, then that's the one thing that people would actually pay keen attention to. But then is CG media and stuff, it was just passive talent. But then I became such a good speaker and a very good storyteller. So I started telling stories kwa daro nini mimi ndio ule msena tangaza fight class. Unajua zile wasa wana
commentator fight.
Unasema cheki sasa pale ukicheki huyo ni mumo amekam hivi akampiga moja hiyo, so ilikuwa just the fun of it. And so we grew up at a point where wrestling was such a big thing. DJ Afro basically. But DJ Afro ameomoka juu lazima upige story kwa English. Last hivyo sasa Lavington Primary nani ya kuelewa?
By the
hakuna you have to say on the left hand side weigh 300 pounds all the way from Arizona. This guy has been fighting for 2 years. And so you had to get into that zone and actually just breathe fire into the little things that you have. So mzee discover talent. Long story short, mzee alifanya nikakuwa passionate even more. I have to appreciate him. Anaitwa Mike Mbwabi. Mike Mbwabi sasa yako Radio Citizen. Anajitanga DJ Mike. So mzee ndo alipatia my first paycheck, nakumbuka ilikuwa 6,000. Bana, town niko na kama watu wataniibia hii town. I'm not safe. Niko na 6,000.
I need security.
Bana, naona ni kama hata babangu akinijibu nitamwambia kila mtu ako na pesa zake.
Tafadhali.
Only 6K, but I remember I did voiceovers and I was very good at accents, so I can really flip on and do like the next one and the next one. But I had to stick to this one because sometimes you might confuse yourself. Brain yako haijui sasa ile unadanganya. So the side effects za kuwa na accents mingi ni unashrabingi sana. Mimi huangusha mbaya sana. Juu akili yangu inafikiria nataka kuongea accent ya Chinese. Kumbe niko Kiswahili. So that's one of the things. But the passion came in Shine FM in campus. Mimi niliingia day one. And at that time, Shine FM in Daystar University, you were never allowed to join campus radio if you're not a second year. So my friend and I, so Gordon Odhiambo and I got to join day one as swing presenters. Ile nikawa presenter yuko unaweza come. But sasa tukiingia tuli fight mpaka policy ika change that a first year first sem can actually join. So that was one of the best gifts ever.
And when you came into campus, ulikuwa unakam ukijua ni this you're coming to study for? Ama how did you get from Lavington Primary into high school?
So Lavington Primary, Mululu Primary. So I went to Ocha because I loved school and I would never skip school for anything.
From Lavington to
Mululu.
Yeah, because you know we were.
Where was Mululu?
Mululu in Western. It's right next to Musalia Mudavadi's ancestral home. It's actually called Moses Mudavadi Primary, but they just call it in short Mululu Primary. So that's where I actually went. Because my dad was like, this kid doesn't want to skip school.
Yeah.
He wants to be in school. Hata nikuwe msik, mtanitoa hosi, mnipeleke.
Shule.
Because I really wanted to. I don't know what that was, but I just enjoyed being in the company of knowledge. I love learning new stuff.
Au kukata shule like at any point.
Wacha nikuwa hiyo story ya kukata shule wacha ndakupigia. Si hapo form 2. Tujafika hata
form 2.
Sasa mululu bado.
Okay.
Kwani story ni ya nani?
Yeah, but ilikuwa hivyo. So nilienda boarding. Boarding kadu scouting kidogo. So I became a scout commander class 6. Ilikuwa job ya wase wa class 8. Nilikuwa tu at some point I think I was just living in my head. I get into a capsule and live in my head. So watu waniambia hii kitu huwezi fanya. Sasa ndo nakuwa na interest ya kufanya.
So
hiyo story kwanza ulikuwa umeniuliza swali
hapo. Mimi nimeuliza venye after Mululu na Lavington tumeingia high school.
Vihiga. I went to Western. So nearly decided I want to study in Western because I wanted to be, even now, like I just want to lead my people. I just want to lead anyone who comes from Vihiga and stuff. I don't know if it's a political ambition. I don't know if it's just getting into my roots. I just want to get to understand where did I come from. So that because there is aspects of identity crisis because see what we come from Nairobi. But I would chill with my grandpa a lot. Na ilikuwa ni aspects mobs zenye nililearn. So I got to study in Western, met so many brilliant teachers. Hao ndio wase walini change completely.
So high school yako ilikuwaje ndio ufike hii point umeingia Daystar umeanza kudo media?
Mi kwanza niligrow up nikifikiria mimi ni Duanzi. Because when I joined that school I think the teachers had a problem with their self-esteem. So hakuna kitu mbaya hakuna kitu mbaya kufundishwa na mamode wana psych.
Damn.
Kuna tu mode mmoja alikuwa na psych alikuwa anaitwa Mr. Mulwa. Mr. Mulwa ali-identify talent yangu from list ya noise makers and it's not the old school ati cliche. Yangu ilikuwa literally like nasumbua so much in class hizi tu nyamaza. Mimi nilikuwa nasema wewe niandike mimi ni bonge.
Andika kijua by the way.
So ndio nisijifanyia tip.
Before class yako unaona niandike.
Saidie book ya chemistry. Alafu niandike.
Wewe niandike
tu kwanza mimi niko tu gangster. Ndio napiga tu story. Punishment kama siko kwa list, sioni kama hiyo list ni legit. So baada ilikuwa mbaya hivi.
Wewe nileta kulala unaandikwa.
Mimi hata siko shule, sikuwa nimereport shule. Hiyo siku si ni opening day. Sijafika, mimi nilishaandikwa. Just in case niingie na niongee.
Umesema hivyo.
I was like an extroverted super sanguine.
Umesema story, sorry to cut you. Nikakumbuka kuna siku shule ishaichomwa. Mimi niko home. Na shule nakipata kwa list.
Nachoma shule.
The problem.
Wewe acha bwana.
Bana mimi ningeamini.
Nikaulichoma hiyo.
Nilikuwa nyumbani.
You had something to do.
Labda ndio uliwaitisha from outside.
Nilikuwa shule Meru na kwetu ni Machakos.
Sina kwamba uliitisha kiberiti from.
Ati bas.
Unajua amesema kwa ni wapi?
Machakos. Kisha ulichoma.
African magic. So I met Mr. Mulwa na Cleophas Malala. He alikuwa Secretary General wa UDA. He was in USIU at that time and he was training drama. So I joined Vihiga drama Form 1 and I just developed an insane interest with acting. And because when you're young and you're a teenager and you're fighting identity crisis, you become so many things. So acting helped me morph into so many things. And then I got to a point where I now could differentiate and say, I'm like water. So whatever vessel you put me in, I change and I obtain the shape of it. And so that's like my superpower. I'm very flexible. I allow things to be as they are. Mi sikujangi kuchange watu. Mi nitakuwa tu water. Nikiona wewe kama tuingiani,
unakuwa maji unaingiana.
Tunaingiana. Sija understand your example. Example yako.
No. Ati anakuwa maji. Wanaingiana.
Si amesema.
Sija understand.
No, wewe umepotea kidogo. Umeongezeni maji.
So I remember our winning power in Vihiga was tuliingia na hiyo class yetu ilikuwa ngani wasi wenyewe. Sijui alikuwa aje, ilikuwa self belief. So tuliamini our mentor sana, Mr. Mulwa na Cleophas. Hasa alituambia kuna wase wanoma hii dunia kaa nyinyi. nyase ni wabaya. Na sasa uko form 1. Imagine umetoka sasa primary school na umeingia high school na kuna msana kwambia hakuna msemzi kama wewe. Alafu unajua hiyo ni chuo yenye wewe umedharauliwa. You have been seen as a nothing. How teachers have been talking to you guys is in a demeaning way. They've been stepping on your necks and telling you, nyinyi, you can't score that mean score like Chavakali High School, Kakamega High School. You can't do that. Can never be you guys. But now you have two individuals who are coming into the picture and they're telling you, young men, yani si atujaiona umekaa nyinyi, there's something about you that's unique. Then we join drama and traditional dance and music festival and poetry. Mazenye nilikuwa ni on another level. Like when I remember my high school, it changed the essence of me. Like ndio wewe unieke chini, so yuko na superpower inakaaje. Up until now, like they put us in a space where like you had no option but to believe that you're Brian ASELI's cheerleader first. Before I even cheer you on. So utapata mimi in my nature I love building things. Lakini me I don't play when it comes to talent. Mabega is on the other side, can tell you I was one of those guys wenye tukisema rehearsal ni from 3 till the next day na uko kwa timu yangu kama uko willing we step. Na hata sitakwambia uishie, utapata tu wase wali move on because we're moving at a very fast rate. We are taking the risks, we are ready to win. From there we were the first team from that school to actually go to the nationals, and we went to the nationals for the 4 years that we were there. And not going to the nationals, it was when we get there
you win.
Hata si haikuwa about winning, we never won at the nationals, but we were a team from the village in Vihiga.
Mululu made it to the
Vihiga High School.
Sasa huko tuko Vihiga.
We history kwa nini? Hauna fair. Unaona nimekuacha
Ulitoka Lavington?
Nikaingia Mululu. Nikaingia Vihiga.
Vihiga High School.
Mululu na Vihiga 240.
240 kilomita na 240 shillings.
240 shillings. Zote nikutumia ufike.
Tumia ufea.
Acha nikutumia ufike. Yeah, unaona. So hiyo kitu ilikamika change vile tunaishi, man. And I remember if there's one thing you couldn't tell me is that I will not become. So hapo hivyo ndio kukaona aspects za in form 2 I wanted to drop out of school because nilikuwa nimeambiwa ni repeat class. And I remember it's because of just being a boy. Just being a boy. Unajua mmoja amekaa class, Mr. Mwangi. Mr. Mwangi was the only Kikuyu in Vihiga. That's it. So he was like, Mr. Mwangi, anasema correct your books. Mimi niko huko nimepiga stand up yangu moja polite. Akisema ninasema. Akirusha unarusha. Niambia ati when are we going to have the elections this year? Naambia elections. I'm just making banter. And this mwalimu is getting pissed. And you know I was doing business admin. Your time, business education at that time. But unapata, I was so into business. I loved it, like as a unit. Nikakuja kuipenda, lakini Modi akaniambia, you will remember me. Nikaambia, hey Modi, relax. Cool down. Na Modi imagine alitransfer bila kuregister marks zangu za exams. So nili hit below the pass mark na how many marks? 2. Akaniambia you will remember me. Wacha nikwambie
ule mokoboka.
Anytime I speak with the Kikuyu accent I remember Mr. Mwagi. Yeah, because nili repeat daro nilikuwa suicide mission. Imagine wase umekuwa ukibuli. Wakiwa form 1 sound ndio wanakaa ma team na fact shop now. Nakumbuka nilikuwa na hasira mbaya at that time, nilikuwa nakaa backbench ukiniangalia na kuokota ngumi. Juu unaangalia nani unajua? Naambiwa the guys were supposed to repeat ni Brian ASELI. Sasa unajua uko drama wase wanakujua. So unabeba desk yako loka. Yani unasonga time ya parade si ati baadaye. So it was humiliation. And I think one thing that makes people even, I'm sorry, but according to a small study that I saw, the one thing that actually sends people to the other half of of life is humiliation. People can't stand humiliation. It's the highest form of shame, if I may say. So hivyo. So your time nilikuwa nataka quit shule. Sorry,
nimefika
sasa.
Mululu ndio sijafika bado.
Nakutumia tu vote. So from 2 I want to quit school. My mom comes to school, akaniambia, mtoto wangu, Sheki, ingia tu Daro. Siingi Daro. And at that time I remember I had a fallout with my dad because I thought my dad did not like me. For no reason. You just those are things you tell yourself as a young person.
Oh yeah, growing
Because you're
up.
like, why is it that dad is not standing up for me?
Yeah.
He's supposed to say that they're supposed to give me like a paper, a sub, you know.
Yeah.
Nikifanya
To prove.
nikiscore anything below 2. Nilikuwa nataka kufanya
Vile tu ulibakisha.
mimi naenda next class.
Hata tatu.
Hata tatu. Sina story mingi.
2.5.
2.5. Kitu imetosha.
good.
Niingie the next class. And my dad was like, if the teachers have said you're repeating a
You're
class,
gonna
Brian, you're
repeat.
going to repeat a class. And don't come home.
Yeah.
Nikamwambia mamangu, and I'm not coming home, but I'm also not staying in this school.
So
And
where
at that
did you
time,
want to
remember,
go?
I started being very famous in school,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in high school. And when I say being famous in high school, I mean, if I quit this school today, the next school is willing to take me. Because of my
Need you more
skills.
than you need to.
Because of my skills in drama.
Hao ndio watu walikuwa wanapochiwa tukiwa high school.
Alikuwa anaenda, I don't know,
Hao na
man.
watu wa rugby.
So umejiamini hivyo, nothing really matters.
Yeah.
You only think about yourself.
Yeah.
Akwambia hapo ndio ilikuwa lesson number 1 ya humility. And I'm like, sometimes in life just keep quiet, sometimes in life just learn, sometimes in life just accept. Because kuna tu lessons zenye Mungu akiamua yeye ndio akuemode hiyo siku. There's nothing you can do about it by the way. Nikarepeat Daro, hiyo kitu ni udhi mpaka leo. Sijui kwa nini. It's the one thing I've never really been able
To take in.
But I guess it's because I've also never gotten a chance to meet Mr. Mwangi. Because I just wanted to know why. And he would maybe say sorry.
Would you want to meet him?
Yeah.
Unaweza mvuruga ama ni
Zizi.
Just have a conversation
You know,
with
like
him.
just to get to understand to nawe pia hiyo time wewe ulikuwa unapitia nini because now through my advocacy ya ku understand vile men wamekuwa that guy was struggling with addiction flani
And then uko
alcohol
hapo
actually I mean
yeah.
I'm this I remember hiyo time nilikuwa namchongoa mpaka ana shake I mean ndio sasa stand up sasa
unaona,
na unaendelea kunipatia beats sasa niko like ana shake pia mimi na shake
Pia una shake.
mimi naona lakini naua siwase Daro wamefurahi
wameisha.
imagine audience watu 60 na hakuna mtu anacheki
Hakuna mtu.
mimi nilikuwa
Superstar.
superstar
Yeah, akasema sawa,
I was the
kashake
bad
zake.
burning man.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
But
Dave
yeah.
Chappelle. So ilikuwa hivyo but
Alisema,
Ngoja,
"Tusikie jo."
nasipokuwa moto
Wewe ukaamua unashake, akasema, "Wazi."
akasema
Yeah, akashake brain zake.
akashake life yangu yeah so I remember the commitment was with Madhi the commitment was we soma ufike form 4 waseme nilifikisha mtoto form because I come from the Luya community where people are actually really tough on the women when it comes to the outcome of the kids. But I got to realize that it's not the incident in our house. There's a lot of liberty in our house.
God, so I didn't get that point. Like in Luya, they are very tough on the lady. If
so in Luya land, if you're doing well,
it's attributed to the mom.
Dad.
Or to the dad.
Father,
Okay.
But is it that in all communities?
Yeah, but now that is first hand. That is first hand. You never get to realize because maybe you're in Nairobi, you think that it's all African cultures, but when you see it first hand, you see the kind of pain your mother is going through.
Yeah.
Then
You get to
I remember I broke down. Nilibeba hiyo desk, tukaenda na madhe mpaka class, akaniambia nimekie commitment. Tuseme umemaliza form 4. Tuseme umefika form 4 na tuseme umepita. Unaweza penda kufanya nini? Mimi niko na roho ya journalism because nilikuwa nimeanza kwenda matrip. Actually the first thing was because nataka kwenda tu kuona madem wa journalism walikuwa wameiva.
Correct.
Walikuwa wameiva.
Correct.
Kama una watch hii na wewe ulifanya Jonah ukishuhudia. Props to you.
Ni kama tunaweza taka
St. John.
St. John.
St. John. Walikuwa wameiva mbaya. So
Lakini watu wa handball, okay.
Atuangalie huko leo.
na basketball
Nini?
also.
Basketball,
Nataka
yes.
cancelled.
No, like mademu wa basketball walikuwa
Walikuwa wameiva back.
Mademu wa back.
Really?
Wa handball.
Top.
Wa handball.
Wa handball.
Mbona kusalimia?
Sitaki kuwepo like mikono zao, unajua.
Ana kuembrace. Ana capture your attention.
Hamtaki the soft girl.
Do you understand? Like there's a lot there's a lot at hand, you know.
Yeah,
the
there's
hand
really a lot at hand.
Walikuwa wa handsome.
Who's checking your joke?
If you're watching and you actually played basketball,
Watu wa handball. Walai walikuwa wa handsome.
Handball nafuta.
Yeah. So I remember making a commitment to my mom.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a dedication. So my mom told me, what do you want to be? I told my mom, I just want to be on radio and television. Mamangu akaniambia, you have to get into the particulars. And that's how I got to realize that women waste a lot of time, even today, fighting with men because of what they want to happen either in a relationship or either in existence as men and women. The feminine touch of things is birthing. Unaget? And then the feminine touch of things is nurturing. You get? So you're fighting with people who are meant to protect what you've birthed. Are you getting? Because men protect.
Yeah.
And by nature they want to provide.
Yeah.
And it's okay for a woman to provide.
Yeah.
But it's in our nature to want to provide and protect. For women, they birth
and they nurture.
and they nurture.
Yeah.
And the feminine touch of things is the reason as to why I'm here today. Because my mom birthed the dream of where do you want to work? And we wrote it down. I want to work at KTN. What else do you want to do? I want to do radio. Where would you want to work on radio? We wrote down a list, and Nation FM was the first one on the list.
So hii ni vision board tu ya 1912.
Yeah. Ni kweli.
1912.
Ni sawa. Ni sawa. Ni mbali lakini sawa. Si joke ni yako. Support local talent.
Support local talent is crazy.
Support local talent. Msikuwe hivyo.
Mkini-support tutaenda far. Tutaenda far.
Mtu asishake yoke yako.
You can understand. So I think my mom taught me one thing. If you want something, write it down. If you want something, don't let anything stop you up until you can achieve that. 9 years after Form 2, I get my first contract at KTN.
Question.
That was like the first job landing. I know I did my voiceovers at Milele FM and everything, Shine FM and whatever, and then a lot of theater with. After high school, we formed a theater company. Mambo mingi kafanyika hapo hivyo. I went to campus.
Yeah.
Vitu mobs kafanyika. I started theater groups in campus, and I was very strict. There are some people who, even up to date, they have not forgiven me. But they're on Netflix and they're on Showmax. And I'm like, yo, I don't care. You're successful now.
Yeah.
If you like me, sawa. If you don't like me, pia ni sawa.
Yeah.
But if you say you want to be an actress or an actor and you've told me, you've asked me to be involved, you better make it. Yeah. Because the people who took care of my talent, they were not joking. Those men were not joking.
Yeah, Mr. Mwagi.
Yeah. Mr. Mwagi. What's on Mr. Mwagi? The Cleophas Malala, the Justin Ongwen, who we also taught at Riara Springs. Later on, I became a drama trainer, so nilikuwa naenda kwa mashule different, akina Alliance, akina Bulimbo Girls, Shavakali, so many schools. So by the time I was joining campus, nilikuwa nisha interact na watu wengi sana.
Yeah.
So I made the choice to actually go to campus. But the idea was, for my dad, he was like, you have to go do law. And I was like, we understand.
Wezi elewa.
So mi nikaepa home for 4 months.
Story yake inaenda tu.
So what are you doing in these 4 months?
Vitu tu mob.
Vitu gani? Ukora Nairobi.
Ukora Nairobi. Real estate agent.
Another insurance.
Mtu akifanya forex lazima akuulize. No, but hii time nakumbuka nilikuwa kuna a short course I was doing in performing arts. So I'm a trained performing arts guy. So nilikuwa naifanya. Na hiyo time my dad was like, go do computer packages and driving. I was like, sifanyi hiyo story. Nipatie kitu inakaa kama course. So I did performing arts. And I remember that time my dad wanted to get an admission at University of Nairobi.
Yeah.
Admission day ikafika, misi kushow up. Misi kushow up. Niachana tu na hiyo story.
UN.
So yeye alienda yake.
Hakuenda. But alikuwa amebaki kila kitu, requirements, hizo vitu zote. So anajua na move. Nikamwambia I'm not ready. And then he was like, you have to come. So you know how a dad wants to put their foot on the ground. Nikamwambia wewe weka foot on your ground. That is good.
Pia mimi naweka.
But mimi sasa mi naenda kuweka futi yangu kwa ground ingine juu nikiweka kwa the same ground na wewe utanitoa huku. Utanitoa hii town. Yeah. So I just moved and started living with my friends. Your time tukaenda tukafundisha shule fulani huko Mavoko Secondary. And that school actually went to the nationals for the first time. So nikaona ni kama niko
kuna kipaji hapa, kuna nyota.
It's tantalizing.
Nyota
And I was like, yeah, maybe this is the thing I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But deep down kuna tu ile calling. I was like, I made an agreement with my mother. I'm going to meet it because at that given point nilikuwa naona tu ndio mtu anani understand. Ilikuwa hivyo.
Was there a particular reason when you were writing 1912 you wrote you wrote KTN Nation? Like, was there a particular reason why you chose KTN?
Yes,
Back in the day.
yeah, because it was now the first of all I watched a lot of movies. My late night was nakuja na movies mob. So I was just particularly interested in getting to understand who are these guys. And then I saw people like Ali Manzu. Walikuwa hapo hivyo kwa game. He was extremely young at that time. Akina Ahmed Darwesh. There were some guys in the business and I was like, wow, these guys are doing great. And I remember also back tenor in primary, we were going to the same school as Hamisi Temo. Hamisi Temo was a broadcast journalist at KBC. And I was like, oh my God, these guys are dropped by the guy who speaks on TV. And I was like, Dad, take me to this guy's house. You know how crazy my father was? We actually went to Hamisi Temo's house.
What?
Akaniambia, salimie. Akamsalimia. Akaniambia, unajikaza sana. So my life has been just leading me to this path. So I think kuna mali iki tu inaenda. Niliacha kudoubt. Nikasema mi niko tu hapa hivi. I'm here for the journey. I'm learning, I'm meeting people. I'm having conversations, you know. And one thing that I don't veer off my vision. Hata wewe tukisema tunafanya kitu fulani, we'll do it to the end. Sitafika mahali ni kutoke. I'm not that type of person.
I remember even when I called you, ukaniambia nikukumbushe on Thursday. And then I was like, unajua ukinikumbushe on Thursday ucancel itakuwa tricky. Akaniambia hiyo ni kunikumbusha siku cancel. Yeah, because you already had.
Anacommit.
Ana
go all the way.
Na niko na examples.
Paid actor.
Ukiongeza 160 na kuona.
Nimelipa rent kwa
Wewe.
Sasa wale hujalipa na stima. Kibra Sonani unaweza pata hao. Sonani unaweza pata hao.
Like mwezi mzima unalipa Sonani?
Shida tuliiba akidecide anataka kuwasha jiko. Anaweza chukua wali yako wote.
Crazy.
What do you mean wali yako?
Jumbe yako ni ya karatasi.
No, don't explain to the
Public. What I'm going to say.
Not even public, he said Barbie.
Elezea Barbie.
Nilikuwa nimel. I thought it's like timber.
Hata hizo ziko.
Exactly. Unaona niko on the right track.
Sijali uko sawa. You're not that rich. That Mr. Mwangi moment came.
Mush,
Now that
shut
you
moyo
KTN,
tofauti.
and first of all, big shout out to KTN Standard in
Standard
particular.
Media Group.
Umeona hizo nini?
Hizo newspapers
Wana inject.
Kila siku.
Every
You
day.
must.
Every day. I have two questions in regards to that. One, what's your take on the government now scrapping off advertisement, or rather claiming that they will do so? And the second question is why you left Standard.
Okay. One thing, I feel like media freedom is something that's very important. We can't ignore the fact that we have a freedom of expression, and of course, as a public, they have a right to information.
Yeah,
True.
So it is your right. It's constitutional for you to get the right information. The choice of words is actually governed by something we call truth. Okay?
Yes.
We are living in a day and time where the government wants praise.
Yes.
But of course, if I was in government today, and maybe I was a government spokesperson, or maybe I was creating PR or doing any form of management
For government.
today, I'd advise them one thing. Instead of cutting their ties with Standard, they should call all media houses and sit down, get to have a conversation, get to understand where is this country at the moment. They have intel. If I was in government today, I'd urge them to actually just work for its people. That way, Standard doesn't have to write these headlines. I'm just saying. Because if the government, if you consider yourself a leader, you've been elected by your people, walk in, build. Kama ulisema unajenga barabara, si utengeneze tu barabara.
Wacha story mingi.
Kama ulisema kutakuwa na maji, si uache tu kukuwe na maji. Kama ulisema kutakuwa na employment,
create opportunities,
that way Standard itaandika a lying government or something like that. So accountability is one thing that the government needs to positively embrace and get to understand that media is an independent arm. It's the fourth estate. We are governed by our own rules. We must be trustworthy and we represent the people. At no given time should the government think that the media is supposed to represent their interest. It can report on the good things they are doing, but there's not much that the government is doing at the moment. Because I'm just saying, because if they were doing a lot, we wouldn't see the protest that we had last year. Ilikuwa 25th, si ndio?
25th, June.
June. Unaona? Vijana waliangushwa. Mabesti zangu waliangushwa. Unaget? Ile time watu walikuwa naenda parliament, I was right there. Watching young men and women being brutalized. Ukiona msee tumetoka kucheka naye hapa hivi, the next minute there's a spillover of their brains on the grounds. And we think that this country is moving towards the right direction. Then we are being labeled as rebels, as hooligans,
criminals.
Something does not sit well. As a criminal, I'm just saying, as a criminal, because that's a tag that was given to millennials and Gen Zs. I just feel like there can't be goodwill, yet we are losing lives like that. There can't be goodwill, yet the promises that you made to the people,
You're not doing anything about it.
You're not doing anything about it. You made a promise.
Deliver it.
It's as simple as that.
Watu waseme na watende.
Wakitenga watengue. Is there something like tengua?
Kiswahili, labda tuulize mtu wa Maragoli.
Ningewashow lakini hata mimi sijui.
Hello Mr. Mwangi.
So just unanipe PTSD.
Unamtrigger.
Umeisema mara 4. First 3
Now
times was a joke. The fourth time is just personal.
You're gaslighting.
Gaslighting me, bro.
No, but I like what you've put across. Accountability is very important. Now to the second question, is there a particular reason you left Standard?
I got another opportunity.
Simple.
Was it
blank
question? Was it because at that time I remember kulikuwa na issues to do with, I mean there were claims they're going through financial issues and stuff. Did that play any role in that?
Yeah, it did.
Hapa kuna mafuta tuende hapo.
So it just came at a time where Standard was struggling. But I'll always be appreciative of whatever they gave me. They gave me my first shot in the business. And I believe money issues has been affecting media, especially mainstream media. There's been disruption by social media and other digital media as well. So you can't just point a finger towards Standard and keep crying about Standard. I was like, I haven't been paid for a couple of months. I have an option of sitting down and contributing towards articles and saying how Standard is bad. Or I can just wake up one morning, go look for another opportunity. And I keep looking for the opportunities. Because when you're gifted, that's one thing you need to also understand. When you're gifted, don't get comfortable. When you get comfortable, people think that you're... let me give you an example, and I hope we can get like a meme or something like that. I saw an image, and this image was of a Lamborghini imepakiwa the same place yenye kuna vifagio na nini, because this person doesn't know the value of the Lamborghini. So when you're gifted, know your value so that usiweke kwa nini
Kwa basement
kwa
fulani,
vifagio basement flani huko unaget so that's what I decided, you know what, Standard is going through its stuff, that is standard. But ASELI has gone through his fair share and an opportunity came at the right time.
This is my standard.
Naona yeah, this is my standard.
na jokes mbaya huko.
Hiyo ni support. Rudisha hiyo 400 ulikuwa utume
So nasikia hata watu waja support.
Kiroro wanacheka.
Hatukatai joke ni moto lakini support.
Alem kini support.
So long story short, I moved because I got an opportunity at Nation. And remember it was in my list.
Oh yeah.
So it was on my list. So there's 2 other destinations that I've written for myself. And I'll tell you, if they happen, thank God. If they don't, it's redirection, we accept.
I think niko na swali sasa tumefika KTN, tumefika Standard. Kuna challenges encounter, meet ma celebs wakakuonyesha wajisikii na wewe etc. What challenges have you?
So first of all, when I joined as a co-host, not as the main host. So one thing people don't know, that there is a main host. Yeye ndio ana show, yeye ndio anafanya kila kitu, unaongeza tu flavor. And people don't know that. And that's why you find that there's a lot of competition on air. Hapo you know na mko organized maze, very organized. There's
shout out.
Because you're doing something.
You
guys are doing a great job.
Because
there's turn taking. You guys are not kila mtu yuko interested in asking a question at the same time. Because that's an ego kind of thing.
Ego game.
So when I joined, my main host was promoted. And they were like, because the main host has been promoted, what should we do with this show? Should we give this guy a shot tuone vile itakuwa? Ama kutendaje? And nika decide, man, kama nimepata opportunity nitaifanya. Kumbe ndio wameharibu. Never give me an opportunity thinking that I won't do it. My friend, I can prepare. And when it's time for war, it's time for war. We go to war. So nikapata hiyo opportunity. Youth Cafe was the first show that I started doing. And so it was a very serious opinion show on the youth, social, political, economic. But the numbers were not giving. And I was like, you know what? I'm such a gifted person when it comes to entertainment. And I changed the whole thing and made it an entertainment package. I remember my first struggle was, you call people, they ask you, sawa ni nani? Ni kweli watu wanakulizanga kwa game, wewe ni nani? I'm so and so, bado kuna hiyo uoga. And I'm saying that was the most critical and crucial part of my career, because so many people told me no. Mpaka sasa ikafika mahali no ni kazi liisha. It's very hard for you to say no to me. Ni ngumu. It's very hard for you to say no to me because vile nitakusuka. Nakwambia, you know this show, the numbers are crazy. Vituka hizo. And nakumbuka, I was so shocked that at some point in my show, Sauti Soul came. And I was like, mdosi wangu ananiuliza, hey, Brian, because some people are trying to get Sauti Soul. And at that time, I remember they were trying to launch Ben Soul. Ben Soul was being launched. And Ben Soul's first TV show,
Youth Cafe.
Youth Cafe. And it was such an honor because I was like on my list. So my younger brother is my helper in dreaming. So we have a long list of people that we like to interview pia. So tumeandika. There's a year to list score all the 84 that I wanted to interview. And I was like, hey,
shout out to your
brother. Devil worship inasaidia.
Illuminati.
I'm kidding.
Tuwezi beat allegations.
Bloggers watakimbia hiyo.
Unaona kwa hiyo bloggers na alisema. Mnashangaa what's ASELI success?
It's because in Africa, when you're praying for blessings, we believe in God so much. Msekisha blessiwa na blessings ikuwe mingi, tunaanza kusema ni devil.
So but tunam credit for.
Credit shetani amechill. Mimi nilifanya hivyo sana. Nani mimi? You know. Vituka hizo. So basically I struggled with getting guests for my show, but the biggest challenge was identity crisis. So uni boy anastay Ongwaro, mi wenda Ongwaro every day, nastay kwa madha yo time, na unaonekana kwa TV every Friday. Unaget? Nimeingia KTN time ya election year. Unafanya packages, unasikia metumo Narok, metumo sijui wapi, kwa ground, when you're the voice of the youth. So it was crazy. For me it was like, first of all, culture shock, and then you're asking yourself, am I famous? How do people in public behave? And I remember my mom was the most humbling person again. Hiyo lesson ya humility. My dad was like, you have to raise your first million, then you can leave. My mother was like, nilete slippers. Imagine when you are TV. Umetoka. Ndio mama anakutuma kwa kisiaki.
Kwani celeb.
Sielewi. Mama niko na billboard town. Na mzazi ananiambia uende unichukulie nguo yangu.
Ya chama kwa fundi.
Unatumwa cheki mama unaweza kuwa na skari ya chama. So those are moments
and
that I'm always
brand.
grateful and to me I got to realize that hii kitu ni service, hii kitu ni work. People always follow great work. So me I'm not in the interest of ati najulikana. Nitajulikana kama ni it was written somewhere that I'll be famous, I'll be famous. Yeah, but I'm in the public all the time. So I find myself in spaces where utapata si ni wewe
I actually recently
ni mimi na wewe
alikuwa anasema mlipata na jana
ilikuwa jana
jana.
Sasa unajua wewe shida yako ni me I have an eyesight problem.
Auoni
Sionangi. Sioni. So msupa kama kaniambia why is it that you didn't say hi to her? Ni nani? Sioni.
That's why you're not seeing anyone. Okay, sorry.
I'm seeing someone.
Ilikuwa lazima niseme hiyo.
Acha kujenga content bwana. Mimi naweza toshana hivi na sipendi.
I think I'll start asking people that. But well, Brian, I've heard you talk about your roots so many times. You're also into mental health and like getting to know yourself as a person. And let's be honest, it's not been easy for you. So I have one question for you. What would you tell the past version of yourself, the one that was almost quitting school, the one that was feeling, am I really on the right path?
Thank God you didn't quit. Because if I quit at that moment, I don't know what I would have been. Maybe possible redirection into something greater.
Do you feel like you would have, what would you be if you were not in the media or artistic space?
I think I would just be an artist. Maybe I would have never gone to all these spaces that I've gone, but I had already even written down. I remember my mom had a music store and a salon. A music store and a salon. So I remember listening to one of the tapes, cassette tapes. And I remember listening to Helen Tawali and I started crying. My mom was like, why are you crying? Sima, there's something about this woman. And I was like, apana, there's something about this woman. And I asked my mom, unajua mama? So she was a young girl, lakini unajua kwa mtu unamuita mama. We realized kumbe she was just about 23, 24 years at that time.
Lakini
kuna mama watu.
Wamama watu
tu mevaa
chai saa 10
mmejipaka kaluma
na maboshori
mtoto ni mtu mdogo.
mmewatch news serikali zigeuze
msiuziwe
Kenya kama mko ndani.
Sasa mkisema yetu tukirudi kwa 19. Unajua wewe niongelesha na umeanza na 19.
Lakini kuna wasichana wadogo wa hapo 78. Wasichana wamejituma.
Wanataka kuwekwa.
Very focused.
Mnataka tu
wewe utaki msichana mdogo wa 78
demands mingi. Hawa sio makucha.
Basi wadogo. Kuna wale wachanga wa 50s. Wanaume wa 50s.
Acha nikwambie. Yenyu ni different.
Unaona double standard.
Hakuna double standard. Simwache tu. Siwache tu hii nini kwetu kwetu hivyo. Hii shift acha tu iko yetu. Hii shift kwetu ni sisi wasichana wadogo wa 60.
Sisi wacha tuende vijana tudogo huko mafuta.
Mmedominate hiyo market sana.
Hiyo market ni masele.
Hata siku nilisikia hawataki ati hao tunataka wa huko matuo 207.
But 207 mtu sahihi.
207 ni adults.
Advice anakwambia don't like how you treat
passive
aggressive.
Mtoto wa 207.
Mtoto anakupea last chance, anakwambia if you do this again we are done.
Last chance 207.
Mtoto wa 207 anakwambia you know me when I was young.
Young manade.
Be a toddler. Breathe baby, breathe.
But yeah, in my experience,
You had asked that a very very important question.
Kijana mdogo sai huyo wa 207 unaweza mshow nini in the space grow up in, how you've gotten to this point? What can you tell this?
Also knowing that we live in a different world right now.
Yeah. I mean, good things take time. And maze, don't give up. Because ninge give up by the time, mi siko sure like ningekuwa actor full time. I'm not saying that actors unaget, but ninajua ningeenda hiyo direction because I made a promise to my mom. I was telling my mom, let me quit school, go be a Denzel Washington or sorts. Nilikuwa naambia all great actors wenye nimesikia wengi wao wakupitia sijui Harvard, Juilliard, walienda uni and everything, but me yangu nilikuwa naambia mama yangu it's going to be different. Mimi I'll make sure that you are taken good care of. I remember I was a very good sketch artist as well. I don't know where that gift went to because I just started giving up on myself. Na hiyo kitu ya kukosa kujijua, you suffer identity crisis first. Unaget? Unakuwa so many different things, then unakama unajifind, then unasuffer low self-esteem. Juu unaona ni kama everyone is better. Confidence yako inapelekwa huko chini. Upata msee amejidharau. I think that's why people often out themselves. They out themselves because there's nothing to live for. But they just lack a sense of self-belief. And that's why saa zingine nasemanga ukikutana na mtu, be their grace, because you never know. Unaweza kuwa wewe umeongea na hiyo siku na umemjenga mbaya sana, alikuwa maybe anaenda hiyo jioni anataka kufanya ile kitu,
kindness goes a long
way. Wewe umempeleka umembaya chipo bana, mse anasema by the chipo ziko poa, wacha nikule chipo kesho. So inakuwa reason ya ku go to the next day. That's on a light note. But I'm just trying to make sure that topic doesn't go to extremes. But mimi nasema a younger self, don't give up, and then also love yourself more. There's nothing wrong in loving yourself. Mimi niko feel kama saa zingine I need to share mpaka nikue empty. I got to realize that takers they don't have limits. Hawananga watu wakuja kuchukua, hawananga limits. Umse anakuanga msempoa,
akam
muombe tu so 5 atakupea. Wewe sasa umeenda umefanya job mpata so 7 unapatia na so 5, baki na so 2. Alafu bado wao ndio watakuita wewe ni maskini. It happens.
It actually reminds me of a tweet I saw on X Leo saying okay, ni about men.
Kwaruza.
I hate it when, so the tweet was like, I hate it when a man says I like your energy because they're gonna drain it. But now wacha niongee. But it's true.
Unasema wacha tukunye kopo la maji.
But it's true. But now when it comes to whatever he said, whoever is gonna, when they can drain you to a point where you have nothing left, your cup is empty. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Mimi niko na maswali mbili. One, would you prefer TV or radio? Alafu two, umeona how Gen Zs wame come up into the media space. Kuna show host, kuna ninis. What do you think about them? Wako na work ethic ama hawana?
Okay, so the first question, radio, TV, that's
if you had to choose one.
It was to be known for one thing across the world today. That's a tough one. I plead the fifth. Though okay. I would want to be on radio for as long as possible. As long as possible. I'd like to do global radio. I'd like to do probably BBC One Extra. That kind of level. I'd like to do maybe, what's the name of this show? Something America. Good Morning America.
Good Morning America.
Good Morning America.
I don't know if it has a name. Yeah. But but I would like to get to that level where yani tukisema wasanii wa Kenya wanakuja kwa show yangu, it's a big deal. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So export.
Interact na Gen Z hosts.
Yes. Man, it's your time. whether they like it or not. Unajua kila generation you complain about their younger ones. Our parents are complaining, but we know what they did in the 60s. Just that because it was not being recorded does not mean it
they probably did worse.
There are crazy people in the 70s. It's not like Gen Z's invented weed. Walikuta. It's not like they invented brews and beer. They didn't. And anything else. Walizikuta, they're just putting their foot on the ground even more.
Trying to
but it's because
for the next generation.
But it's because of the level of information
that they have.
They have so much information. And people start knowing themselves, and they're not afraid of losing themselves in order to find themselves. We are living in generations where X au alikuwa anasema niingie nifanye kazi nipate bibi na watoto. Hiyo ilikuwa success. Gen Z's right now are like, I'm so aware. I'm so compelled. They make me dream. Like in my world, I'm a millennial, but in the wildest dream, I think I've been a millennial by spirit. Because hizo vitu mlikuwa mnasema ni rude. Why would you talk to a teacher like that? Yetu muuliza tu mwalimu nikuulize. Hii kazi walimu inalipa. Ushapigwa bare juu. Juu ni nini unauliza? It's an honest question. Genuine question.
Yeah. And you just want to
something like mwalimu anakuja anawaambia you are failures. Useme mwalimu
you can never make it.
You can never make it. Failures. Unaona? Wewe useme mwalimu au sisi na yetu tutamake it. Unaambia kneel down.
Nenda unakata.
Nikupata kwa ofisi ya nini umepiga
I don't know if you understand. Gen Z's, they need to understand one thing. Millennials are your biggest cheerleaders. You are their wildest thoughts. Because
tuna live out their wild life.
Wacha nikwambie kuna mtu mwenye anatamani say they are millennial, they just wish that they had a podcast like this. It's in a book somewhere, but they're like camera iko high inaweza kuwa how much? But la ukuje tuwe kama ground shoot ukose kulipa watu you know those are outcomes. Ukamwambie wase poleni nilienda nikapiga hustle nimekam niko na kakitu sasa tunaweza walipa sasa. But Gen Z's they don't ask for permission to start. They don't ask for permission to grow. And they actually absolutely do not care who you are.
No, they don't.
And I remember today I've just been given a talk in Rusinga school. Hiyo place tumeingia hivi out yona kuangalia na kuuliza so what do you do? Who are you? Inafaa ujiintroduce. Millennial mtu akiuliza and who are you? Ujui ASELI. Una TV. Wewe umefika Kenya sasa.
Karibu Nairobi.
And that thing needs to be removed. I remember there were these dancers called Tofo dancers. They danced in Beyonce's video. I remember they met Beyonce amewalipia mpaka flight and everything. Wakaenda mpaka US. They are teaching Beyonce the dance. But when they met Beyonce, they're like, hello, madam. Sorry, who are you? We have not met you.
Beyonce.
Yes, they asked Beyonce. There's a video you can actually go check online. They're like, so hata so in their element,
in their craft,
in your craft. And you're like, there's this woman who saw your dance and she wants you to be in her music video. They don't know you.
They don't know who you are.
They don't care who you are. And that's why I usually say it's proper to just say that you need to introduce yourself in every room you walk in. There's nothing wrong with in introducing yourself. So watu wache kukaa ni kama Gen Z sijui amefanya nini. I'm just like kutakuwa na moderation, but they don't want to learn from people. They want to learn for themselves.
From their experiences.
Exactly. And you'd be so shocked that what people think are mistakes or whatever is just that they were not privileged to have the kind of information that Gen Zs have. And that's the part. That's the one place where people think that there's a battle of generations, which I absolutely think should not exist.
Interesting. So you're into music, umekuwa music for a while, media, theater. Okay, recently our Kenyan now film and also music imeanza go out there. What do you think has been the biggest challenge? Because even in music, Nigeria, Tanzania, tunaweza bishana na wao.
Tanzania hatuwezi
waona.
Wacha nikwambie, so I was talking to some of my friends in Tanzania and Nigeria and SA. They were like, hey, wena, you in your country, when people can sing, they can really sing. Unasema like for like Kenyan musicians are singers. They can sing, they can perform. Unaget? In South Africa, msi anaweza hit. Na sometimes it's not even about the pipes, it's about the vibe.
The beats.
Yeah. So what I think just we've lacked the vibe for years. But right now, look at people like Kodong Clan. Hasa wanakam kuvuruga.
For sure.
And it's not even a joke. Angalia sasa mtu kaa Njerai. Unaget? Angalia kina Mutoria. Unaona? Vitu kama hizo. Unaona? Hope uongelele point yangu.
Nimesema ni mambo
Naweza kuona point yangu. Yeah, so unaona. So I think the biggest challenge has been an industry that we did not have an industry at first. I'm not saying that we have a proper industry now, but now we've now gotten to a point where information is free to all. And now the world is chasing African stories, and imekuja ikamit readiness. Opportunity imekama ikamit readiness. I get excited when someone says I want to be an actor. I met a bunch of kids today. They were like, what do you want to be? An actor? And you can actually not tell them, oh, you can't be an actor. They were actually telling me from their guts, they're like, so how did you start? So how do you do theater plays? So how do you do a screen test? So how do you do, you get all those things. So I can't say, I don't know what the challenges are. But what I can say, there's a very big opportunity for Kenyans to actually be the biggest export from Africa. Because we have the stories. Say place come Marvel, whatever. I don't think they have more than enough stories. They've been repackaging the franchise once again. Huyu akukufa. Sasa tunamrudisha. So unajua kabla kufe. So unaona kwa dunia nyingine. Seth assuming angekufa. So kwa dunia amekufa.
But kwa dunia nyingine. Bas.
Haven't you realized that that's what's happening with those are the stories being told? But in Africa, it's fresh, raw stories, and people are now digging into their cultures. Niambie kwa nini ngemi the event ilikuwa imejaa. Tickets were 3,500.
Shout out to Ngemi if you attended.
And they've announced the next one. And people are listening.
And by then, you know, Ngemi's tickets go zinaishanga within 30 minutes.
Yes.
Wewe.
Mtawapeleka next.
Tupeleke. Wanatoa ngemi.
Alikuwa tunataka kusema yeye anakubaingi tickets before 30 minutes.
Hata
hiyo ndio kitu alikuwa anataka tu kusema. Hiyo ndio point yake. Ni sawa. We hear you.
Zoea baraka. Sio tunasema ni ubaya. Tunasema tu
sio kwanza na mmejaa sana.
Kujamna tutajam so that we can work on ourselves.
Kure bust mwele But anyway.
Kukasirika nayo takasirika. Because plug nayo uko nayo. Unajua?
Plug kama uko nayo.
Mnione nyuma ya tent.
Tuko hivi. Vijana wa 1950 ndio wanashughulika.
Vijana barobaro wanaitwa.
Kijana mdogo aliingia 12 minutes alilala.
12 fata. Hapana. Sina maneno, but I want to ask nini sasa? But sina kijana.
That our stories are just about to pop.
They're fresh.
And I love that. Wase wanaenda wana watch. Nimeona premiers mingi sana hapa hivi. Mkuru pia ujaza. Na unaona kuna events za poetry Maina Mind unachekia mejaza. Unaona diverse nani alifanya event yake Ngati alifanya event yake ikajaa. Wase wana release short films inajaa.
Unaona coming up here
Karige pia anafanya.
So I just love that we are now taking initiative more than ever. And people are not questioning their crafts. People are not, and the young generation is more professional than I've ever seen. Because there's a time I reached out to a young actor. I was like, can I interview you? I'm like, it's okay. I agree, but I have to pass it by my manager. I'm like, oh, wow, you're 19, you have a manager. That's dope. And I'm like, oh, relax, I'll send you my bio. No, I'll send you my press kit. I was like, okay, so you have a press kit.
Yeah, at 19.
Yeah, at 19. And right now, that person is signed to Universal Music Group. Because when I met them, they were 19.
Uninjera unaongelea?
Yeah.
Because she was signed.
Yeah.
Big shout out
when
to
I met her, she was 19. And she was like, bro, me, I will write as honestly as I would want to write. And I'm telling you for free, Njera is loved, like legit.
Hey, she is.
She's loved like legit. Because she's an honest person. She's honest with the craft. Mtuka Mordecai pia very honest with the craft.
Hey.
Akina Ben Sol, very honest to the craft. Akina Okello Marx, sometimes I look at Okello and I ask myself, does this person want to be famous? Because he's writing for the world. Kakina Costa Ojwang. Asa wameketi wanaandika iende ka imeenda, unaget? Hiyo unapata Costa nafanya madem wasapere wanaimba Kijaluo fluent. Vibaya sana. Msema Mluya ameimba wimbo wa Kikuyu because Eirosha ameandika ni maheni. And I love that instead of using our languages and tribes as a weapon of war, we're using it as a unifying factor. And that's the best part. When you get to a point where we can now tell stories from Kenya, package them and send them to the rest of the world. Plays that are being done in Nairobi right now, they are plays that talk about our people. Tomboya muliona vile kulija. Mnaget?
Sold out for 3 days.
Sold out. I'm loving that we are not concentrating on being on our own whiteness, for lack of a better word. I'm not being racist. I mean, black and black, you get. So we're not trying to move towards whiteness. I hope that we can tone that down in our films, because squeezy films zetu kila mtu wako affluent. Wasioko na ma accents. And that's why Nigerians are winning. Nigerians say, unaingia kwa set ya Wakenya wasi nikawa na whisper. I can't do that anymore. But wewe ukijam hata kawe ni mtoto wa the wealthiest man in Kenya. Wewe jamaji. And I get so in Kenya we are just afraid of telling people this is who we are, take it or leave it.
Authenticity.
Yes.
Tunagopa kung'oa kwa
That's the one thing. But I'm saying the young people are embracing it. So we'll start seeing it even more.
Progress.
We must start somewhere. We must start somewhere.
If there was like one song you would listen to on repeat, just one for the rest of your life, which one would it?
Nauliza mwanamuziki.
Nataka achague moja tu.
Akisiona.
Hiyo nimeona.
Correct.
It could be one of the old songs, some old songs. Asha, maybe Jailer.
Okay.
I'm a Fire on the Mountain, something like that.
Kijana mdogo.
Kijana barobaro.
Kijana mdogo.
Unaniongelesha hivyo unapenda rumba.
Kwani upendi?
Sasa ukiita Franco.
Unapiga
unalia mpaka unalia unasema madilu alikupitia.
Wamama watu unapata kwa klabu ya rumba pale.
Ulitaka kunitumbukiza.
Umeexpress bana nikao uliko hiyo time
bana madilu alikupitia.
Bebe de muskiza rumba tunakachingi. Sometimes pende genre.
Genre it is.
Ni genre.
Hizi wanaitwa genre.
It's just my vibe. It's just the vibe. You know?
Before tuongelee Wamama in a bit, I want to pick you. Tuongelee Wamama after I want to pick you on some things. Just is the first thing that comes to your head, okay? Usi overthink. Who is the best Kenyan host right now apart from yourself?
Anthony Muli.
Okay. Would you ever do a reality show? If yes, which one?
None. I would never do it.
Why?
Mbona?
It's not reality. Kuna cameras. It's not being recorded.
Okay. Biggest lesson media has taught you, 5 words.
You're an employee.
You are
an
employee. Full stop. Period
is crazy.
My days.
If you're the cabinet secretary for youth and affairs, what's the first thing you'd change?
Distribution. Sorry, youth and?
Youth affairs.
Youth affairs. Yes. First, representation. Yeah, the people who are representing the youth are not youth.
Ni hao vijana barobaro wa 50.
Ni vijana lakini wa kitambo. Yeah, youth representation. And I don't like it when we are just placed in spaces so that
to feel
so you're just umeona for photo
youth.
So if we can get an opportunity to actually allow the young people to create for themselves. I mean, countries like Botswana, they have very young cabinet secretaries for youth. people who are below 29. There was a lady who was below 29. I can't remember her name, but of course, she's from one of the Southern African countries. And she actually came to Kenya. I was like, she's excited. She's listening to the music. You can feel the youthfulness.
Yeah.
It's not... unaambiwa na wewe umekuwa kijana kwa miaka mingi. Let's honor you. It's not supposed to be an honorary position. You need to be a young person. I just feel like if you're to be guided, there's policies, there's the KPIs or whatever that can guide you to actually be in that space and for you to deliver. You can be held accountable, but they should allow the representation for the young people to be done by the young people.
Crazy.
Kumbuki Mudiawori was
kijana wa mahalo
at 90 kijana achana anko yangu please. Tusianze stories za family guys.
Wote wako related
juu ya anko za watu.
Najua mtu ametoka wapi.
Last question yenye itatulead to your topic ya wamama, which is our last topic. What's one very controversial opinion you have about relationships?
Pin drop silence.
Yes,
Pin drop silence.
Pin drop silence.
It better be worth it.
I feel like relationships should not have that kind of pressure yenye tuko nayo sahi. We should just stop comparing. Pata mtu wako mpende
na mpende kisiri.
Na mpende kisiri juu community nayo inakusaidia kukuwa na pressure mtu wangu. It's not controversial. I'm just saying that I feel like there's too much pressure from outside externally affecting who you are and your person.
Your point in is still inaitwaje? External wars.
External factors.
External wars.
Attack from neighboring communities. Sasa wewe kuna demu yako hapa. Si kuna demu yako hapa. Mimi sijabai gari. Niko tu na demu yangu. Wewe unakuja na GLE unapack. Unataka Mercedes moja baridi.
Unataka nini?
Alafu unauliza demu yangu. Demu yangu ako hapo na mimi. Unakuja kuuliza demu yangu. Can you drop us? Mbona unataka kutudrop?
Lakini ASELI wewe unaona hii mvua, unaona hii jua, utaki hata wewe GLE?
Nataka GLE.
Wacha wasichana wabebe na watu wa
ndio nasema nataka GLE. Lakini sasa si lazima nifanye kila kitu yenye watu wanafanya ndio apate GLE.
Yeah, I get where you
tell me why you're 19 and you have a GLE na una inheritance.
Sini God manze.
Hakuna. Kwani mimi na worship God.
Forex.
Kwani God wangu ameenda meeting. God wangu available mtu wangu.
Sini small girl big God.
Small girl be good.
Stop switching. I'm not saying. No. That's just for banter. No, there are girls who work hard and actually get to spaces where they can buy a GLE young. And it happens. And even there's young guys who actually get to that position. So wanasema God akikupatia head start usifikirie wase wengine hawa work hard.
Which brings me to the question, do you feel like it's okay for like tumewaita wasichana wanapenda vijana wadogo wa 1950s. If I am still doing that, let me just not even sugarcoat it, a shower business, and I do buy the GLE. See, it's still God that has given me that small boy. That's my question. No, I haven't said it's God. What are you okay? Nini
umetaja tu God karibu hiyo statement.
Nasema someone actually asked that on X, like, is it valid? Because the Bible says that is what they were arguing. The Bible says everything we have is from him. So is it valid to say ni God bado mwenye amekufungulia hiyo milango hata kama umefungua miguu?
Wafula anaitwa God.
Sidhani huyo ni God, huyo ni daddy.
My daddy.
No, but that's nikwambie. Like if you interrogate that question, it's very philosophical by the way, because people be thanking God all the time. Even the devil anasemanga Mungu asante. Hata shetani mwenyewe unafikiri the devil does not recognize the presence of God?
He does.
Exactly. Na anajua he's all powerful and almighty and he owns everything. But I'm just like, don't be mixing notes. You know what? If you unachukua tu paper 2, unachukua notes za paper 2.
Unachukua kem na siari
unatuliza.
Precipitate na solid. Aingia.
50-50 kwa relationship ama marriage.
50-50 kwa relationship hapana. Charlie provide.
Umesikia?
Yeah. But I'm not saying that they should be. Nasema sisemi ati kusikwe na teamwork. 50-50 does not mean that there is no teamwork. But I'm just saying And this is the most powerful thing. And I'm not at gassing the ladies, but me, according to how I was raised, my dad told me women are like incubators. You give her, actually this is why in the words of Miles Monroe, we do study books and people and mentors with my father a lot. So he gave me an excerpt and I was like reading it, and he was saying, you, as a woman, you give a woman a dot, she gives you a parenthesis. You give a woman a word, she gives you a sentence. You give her a sentence, she gives you a paragraph. You give her a paragraph, yes. So whatever you give a woman, she multiplies. So we kuja with nonsense, we uone vile nonsense yako unataka kugeuziwa. Umekuja tu na nini atasema no littering, umerusha next day. Because that's the kind of things we introduced to. And I'm like, people need to take time to heal before they go on to the next relationship. Because one more time. People need to heal before they go to the next relationship. Juu kila tunakutana tu na wase wako na wounds. Kumbe huko kwa list ya akinataka kutesa wavulana 72. Na ndo umeingia tu number 1. Kama notes za break up ni fresh.
Kumbe game iko rigged.
So most people have not done the inner work of actually making sure that they get to heal. And get to a point where they can accept who they are and build. And even ukirudi soko kama wamekudisappoint, wewe rudi tu soko. Points ni kama you are honest and loyal, you'll just meet your own.
But uangalie utakuwa side gani ya soko.
Unaweza ingia kwa vitunguu
ama avocado.
Usiguze avocado wewe.
Sasa avocado sana is not allowed. People don't take avocado.
Unaingia avocado kwa mambo ya wasichana.
Mambo serious. Kama avocado unaweka kwa wasichana tu.
Maneno ya avocado na wasichana zimepata.
Hatuwezi kuwa tunaongelea mambo serious kama ya avocado. Alafu unaweka wasichana hapo ndani. Shwari.
Okay, basi side ya cabbage.
Hiyo avocado usikuze.
Okay, but
unataja warumi ni kwa
crazy man, time is really not on our side. Director ananifanyia kitu
kuangalia vibaya.
But itabidi niulize hii swali. There's a point you said uko na gift ya prophecy. Is it true?
It's not meant to be a bragging right.
Fact.
It's not that easy.
Mi
kiweza kukuja niko na ndoto.
Sifungue kanisa.
You see, that's the whole essence. Just because you've spotted a gift does not mean you should get into the system of things. Because I believe that's why in Kenya is more secular than ever. People are not going to church. Because kuna mtu amefungwa church because alipredict true game moja ya Arsenal na Arsenal itashinda cup. Mimi mtu wa Arsenal.
Nakuza murima.
Naongelea vitu
venye tutashinda Champions League
next season.
Na ikapo
Umeelewa? Just because, and I don't like it when people use some gifts to justify who they are in the society, because you have so many men of God. God can actually part from you. Na uendelee kung'ara na gift yako. Kwanza najua kuna judgment day, atajua vile tadili na wewe. So vitu zako zina align, mambo yako inaingiana sana, but God left the chat room. So mi wanasema it's something that if harnessed vizuri, it's very deep, because my mom is I come from the priesthood. My dad is a bishop, my mom is a prophet.
Nice.
So for every prophet, it's passed on to the next generation. So I so happen to be that. But I'm mostly like, if it comes, I will call you. But shida ni, when you call people and tell them, nani, cheki, God anasema ufanye kitu fulani na fulani. Huyu ASELI ananichukianga, anipendangi. And it could actually be like in the middle of rehearsal, and most of the people who've interacted with me during rehearsals, kuna tizi zingine tunafikanga hivi naambianga mtu, ebu tuache hii tizi. Ebu let's just pray. And then when you start praying, unajikuta, we, cheki kuna kitu unafaa kufix. And then I come and tell you, at that moment I can feel it. But it's not a bragging right. It's not a
you know me, I can do
Brian ASELI prophecy. Hold the number.
Brian ASELI prophecy.
Ukichuma kile uliyotaka nitakufafanulia. No. It's not
daktari kutoka Mululu.
Daktari kutoka Mululu. Ninaweza kubadilisha mambo pale nyumbani. Because that's God. So if you've been chosen to, and everyone has that gift. Everyone has a gift given by God the Father. And that's a gift that not even the devil can actually take it away. Even God the Father himself cannot take it away. Because ndio maana unaona ngati msee alikuwa gospel artist anatoka na kuimba secular. God afgani anasema sauti yako iharibike. He doesn't do that. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to get favor. It doesn't mean you're not going to get favor.
Mush, unapika pabaya. Unabonga tena. Unafanya nini? Umefika hapa.
So I'm saying,
ukijana ana bahati.
Everyone needs to know. Wewe mimi najua msijioni na umse hata kama umetumwa. So but tunasema kila mtu anapatia gift yake ya God the Father. It's good for you to have the spirit of discernment. Ujitafute. Because utakuwa unafikiria na maana people often think that talent ni singing, acting, dancing. Na hizi vitu zote unaona physically, but these you could be just such spiritual talents. And you could have a gift in just management or leadership. Mwingine tu ni a very good advisor. Unaget vitu kai so people need to dig deep and get to understand that those are gifts that are in your dispensation person. So discernment ndio itakupeleka pale. And the people of the Lord said mnaweza tuma pale
tutafanya graphic design hapo ASELI the prophet.
Man, I wish we had more time to continue, but we'll definitely have you back. But I'd want you to tell people they can find you, engage with you.
Nice. My name is Brian ASELI, most bankable host in Africa. I am a TV radio presenter. I run a theater company, Sons of Muju Productions. We have a play coming. We have a play coming in I hope mnaweza nielewa. 12th 13th Braeburn Gitanga Road. It's called Jaboya, such a powerful art work of art. No, July. We have 2 months to go. And you can follow me at Brian_ASELI across all social media platforms.
Beautiful. The most bankable host. Now gigs za co-host pia.
MCing. Beautiful. Second generation mzee ndo alikuwa MC. Lakini
hapo alikuwa MC.
Hakuwa analipwa. So kuna siku tumeenda.
Kuna maana unajiita the most bankable.
Kuna trauma response. Sorry, aki director kwa taniwa. Ni sawa. So there's a time my dad saw an invoice. Akaona MC fee, akaona hapo nimeandika 120,000. Akaniuliza. Yote ni pesa. But he did so many gigs. I remember my first time on stage was with my father. And it was a music concert. Ilikuwa zile compare za nini za Christmas. So mzee alikuwa MC. So mimi nikapanda stage na so alikuwa ananiambia sema kitu fulani. And that's why I love laughter on stage. So I always nikuta kwa events watu wakose kucheka, lazima cheke. Mzee alikuwa anifanya as comic relief. So thank you.
Big shout out to Baba ya ASELI. Anyway, man,
Wilson.
Big shout out.
Wow, Wilson. Mi father.
No, by then nataka kwenda Jamaica on a side note, but anyway. Kufanya. Sijui inakaa tu kwa interesting msee. Jamaica inakaa Kayole. Funga. Haya, sawa wamekataa but tutaenda hii mwaka. Haya, sawa man, that's it from us. We've had Brian ASELI. Kama uja subscribe, sikuelewi by the way, number 1. Number 2, we are opening, I should have said it at the beginning, but nilisahau. Anyway, we are opening a WhatsApp community. So if you'd like to be our actual community, because we want to build a community out of the podcast, somewhere where you'll be getting hot first-hand information on updates, who we are having, updates, whatever. So we are having a WhatsApp community. It's going to be on the description and also on our social media pages. So if you'd like to join, please join. Kutakuwa na goodies for the first 100 people. Yes, tutakuwa na goodies for you guys. The first 100. After hapo tumefunga. Because we are aiming at millions. Sama namna gani? Anyway, wacha tufunge man. This is episode 7. We've had Brian ASELI. End story.
Before tumalize. ASELI hapa tukimaliza nganini una Joel uliza kwani alafu tunaweka si wote story ni ya nani. Sawa?
Beautiful. Take 2. Nothing from us. This is episode 7. We've had Brian ASELI. Na kama kawa swali yetu tunakuanga kwani
story ni ya nani?
No.
Wamboi.